DK Golf Cat, presented by Bones Brothers Media.
Oh man, the Masters hangover. It is real. If you were like one of us on this podcast, then I'll tell you what, you absorbed 4 phenomenal days of championship golf. Loaded leaderboards, masterful golf shots, exquisite conditions at Augusta, only to return to what I can describe as the disappointment of reality. It's sobering. Had to put the cap back on the bottle, swipe up on the app, turn the news back on, probably get ready for work. And I'll tell you what, if you're one of the golfers who couldn't seize the opportunity to maintain or perhaps capture a lead on a major weekend where it was available, you're probably feeling a little post-event depression and anxiety as well. I could understand that. Now, if you're Rory McIlroy, well, you're hungover for an entirely different reason. Back-to-back champions at the Masters, first guy to do it since Tiger Woods, only the fourth guy in the history of the Masters golf tournament to do it. And it wasn't that he wasn't necessarily on our radar last week. We just went for the balanced build. We didn't want to pony up for Rory. But I'll tell you what, if you did for Rory or Scotty, then you probably got paid. It is the Bones Brothers Golf Cast. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Edge. Joining us from Pittsburgh, the king of Dormont, the namesake, Bones DK. Your core four last week had Fleetwood, Rose, Fitzpatrick, in English. How do you evaluate that performance?
Hey, we got the job done, Edge. It went 4 for 4, and that was our main goal, right? To get those guys through. Rose was almost the hero for us, man. I mean, we were on that one. For a minute I thought he was going to win it. I really did, but he choked like he usually does, and finished in the top five like he usually does. So. I was happy with the core four. Again, just Sunday, Fleetwood kind of melted down. English didn't really do much. It was looking really, really good after 2 days. We just didn't get the finish we really wanted there. But, man, that was one of the most exciting sweats I can remember, to be honest with you. That was incredible.
Besides Young, Rose, the only other golfer in the field to get it to 12 under. And when he did, he was 2 shots ahead in the fairway on 11. Hit one of the worst televised shots I've ever seen at the Masters. I had never seen that part of the golf course before, and that started the meltdown. The Rogue Warriors for TW Man joining us from Tampa, St. Pete. I know it's gorgeous down there right now, Wild Man. It's going to be nice in Hilton Head this weekend as well. We'll get to that in a moment. Russell Henley, though, performed. I actually sent you a text on Sunday afternoon, Wild Man, saying Henley's stroke looks confident from tee to green. Once he got on the green, he kind of let us down a little bit down the stretch, but he did go 10 under. That was a great Rogue Warrior. Jason Day, again, kind of like Fleetwood and Lowry. We needed a little more out of them on Sunday. And then, of course, Bubba, Jerry Watson, a 2-time winner, did not make the cut. Rogue Warrior, you're in a tough spot. How do you evaluate your Rogues from the Masters?
Well, let's start with Henley, right? If there's a guy other than Justin Rose who left the tournament there in Augusta, Georgia, left his locker empty, it's Henley. I mean, man, coming down the stretch there, it was putts of 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 15. Missed them all on the back 9. A couple of those were par putts, but several of those were birdie putts. So a guy that certainly, I mean, it was clinical. Look, it's like we said last week, clinical ball striker. If he can get a putter going, you never know what he's capable of. He could not get the putter going. And look, Day, I mean, I've rued Day since Sunday night. He contributed to my hangover, let's put it that way, as I kept going all night long on Sunday night. But look, at the end of the day, if you're looking at it on paper, a T12 out of 7,600 from a guy that, you're always a little like nervous about whether he's going to hurt his shoulder and quit or whatever, we'll take a T12 out of him. 0 birdies on Sunday, which was devastating for us down the stretch there, though.
Interesting to hear what you guys have to say about Day this week, because he's at a competitive price on DraftKings at 8,000. Real quick, couple wild cards we mentioned just off the cuff last week. Patrick Reed had another great performance at Augusta. What do you make of that, Rob?
Patrick Reed does well at Augusta. I'm still okay with not playing him. He started off real well. I was getting a lot of text about Reed. Oh, you told me not to play him. I took it to the chin there. He did pretty well, but again, Patrick Reed does well at the Masters, and we'll see him again in a few weeks because he's on the Live Tour. So who cares?
Interesting comments out of Reed talking about how he is really enjoying the competitiveness, the ups and downs, the looking at the leaderboard, being back in these competitive golf tournaments versus live golf. It was not a very good weekend for live golf, but one live golfer that did do well, Tyrrell Hatton. We talked a little bit about him last week, Wild Man. Kind of a golfer who has the temperament of somebody that we wouldn't like, but man, I'm starting to root more and more for Tyrrell, and he seems to be flirting around at least once on the weekend the friggin' lead of the tournament.
Yeah, he fired 266s over the week, which are very low rounds at Augusta. And I said it last week, I'll say it again. I think he's more likely to break through at a U.S. Open where like 600 can get it done or 400 can get it done. But great finish for him. So I'm already queuing him up for the U.S. Open. I'll just tell you that right now.
This week, we are at one of really the pros golf tournaments. They love playing here at Harbor Town in Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's the RBC Heritage. It is interesting this week that it is a no-cut event. Something else that's interesting about this, I wouldn't say interesting, but it is more of a birdie fest, I'd say. The last few scores here have been minimum 17 under or better. Small greens here, though, Wild Man. Tight fairways. We saw last week, though, that big hitters, and they've always done this, it's nothing new, big hitters win big on tour. Is that what we're looking for this week?
No, not at all, believe it or not. And this one will actually hold true. I'll give you some data here in a moment, but you're looking at a par 71, only 3 par 5s. It is one of the shortest average tee shots on the PGA Tour, only about 272 yards average off the tee. So you can't really grip it and rip it here unless you're, a few shots back on Sunday and you have to, because the further you hit it here, the Pete Dye, Jack Nicklaus design will get you into more trouble the further down you go as fairways get a little thinner, some more hazards, some more native area come into play. And I'll tell you, like guys like Matt Kuchar, Jim Furyk, Graham McDowell, Davis Love III, Webb Simpson, Brant Snedeker, Kevin Kisner. Those are short hitters on tour that have all contended here and have a top 2 finish. So looking for some of the same. The weather should be, once again, pristine. There is 0 precipitation all 4 days, 0. So there's not even going to be clouds in the area. Thus, that should keep the wind down, as you're not going to have some of those auxiliary winds coming from some rain clouds nearby. It should be perfect conditions in a beach town at a very country club style resort. It's been redesigned by Davis Love III, actually. So expect some low scores. I will tell you this, the last 6 winners of this event have come in having owned a major championship. 6 in a row.
Interesting. And it's an A-list field. There are plenty of major champions in this field. Scheffler, Schauffele, Fitzpatrick, Henley, Cam Young, who had a great Masters. Thought it might be Cam Young's time, actually, when I went to bed Saturday night. Fleetwood, Morikawa, Burns, who had a great, I feel bad for Burns. If he didn't play with Lowry, he probably would do a lot better on Sunday at the Masters, quite honestly. Lowry was just lousy on Sunday at the Masters. Jordan Spieth, our defending champion, Justin Thomas. Rose is out, though. He dropped out of the field earlier this week. So, Bones, hit us with the core 4. How are you building your lineup this week?
I'll tell you what, this is an interesting week for the core 4 and just lineup construction overall because of the no cut. Typically, I'm not one to really play the Scotty at $14,000, especially with a cut. However, this is a week you can get a little riskier, and I kind of was tinkering around with the Scotty lineup this week, and it's definitely doable. You can get a little price cut there at $13,500 now and not $14,000, and there's a bunch of guys down low I like. However, my core four is built to make a 6-for-6 lineup, even though, it is no cut this week. But I like to play safe guys in the core four. And to be honest with you, this is one of the tournaments that has the most course history correlation out of all the years. I mean, if you look at the leaderboards the last 4 years, it is the same guys over and over and over again. And I'm going to build my core four around that. We're starting off with Patrick Cantlay. Gotta love Patrick Cantlay this week. He just absolutely loves this place. Patrick Cantlay has an 11th, 3rd, and 3rd in his last 3 times here, and he's shown that he's running back into form right now. So gotta love Patrick Cantlay. He is at 9,200. We're gonna start there with him. My next guy is a little more expensive than him, and this is a tough spot for me, but I'm putting it on the pod, and I chose this guy for a reason. Colin Morikawa. I think everyone's getting a little scared still of his injury, but if you look at his most recent results, a 7th, 5th, 7th, 1st, you get that player's cut that I always like to take out of anyways in the players. Colin Morikawa, especially at this price, 9,300, you're starting off with 2 A-plus players there on the PGA Tour with amazing history here. Fire up Colin Morikawa and Patrick Cantlay.
I think Morikawa birdied 7 of the last 9 holes at Augusta also on Sunday afternoon. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
No problem at all. Then we're going to go down to make this a little more balanced, like I said. A guy that I like to show up at tournaments like this, and I'll break down why. Sepp Straka also has some great finishes here. Looking at my notes here, he had a 13th and a 5th in the last 2 times here. And you just kind of look at Sepp Straka. He pops up randomly. And I think it's going to bring his ownership down here, especially at $7,900. But you looked at when he got his second place, he went cut 18th second. Right now, he went cut 41st, and he's coming back to a course that he loves. And I think Sepp Straka 7,900 is a very safe and great play this week, Sepp Straka. And my final guy here, who Wildman just brought up, a person who has won this tournament, has a share of a major championship. Let's go down to our boy who made a run on the last couple of days there. It didn't look too good, too promising to start. Brian Harman, guys. Fire up Brian Harman this week. This is a course I love him at. He has quietly made 6 cuts in a row and also has some really good history here at the RBC, coming in with a couple top 10s here. Excuse me. He had a 3rd, 12th, and 7th in his last 3 times ago around here. So again, guys, the same guys pop up at this tournament. These 4 guys, I guarantee, are going to have a great week this week. And if you put these 4 in, it leaves you in a great spot with $16,600 left for 2 guys, $8,300 average. You can pretty much go anywhere there.
Brian Harman fought like hell this weekend also at the Masters. At one point, I think he was 8 over par, and I think he only finished a stroke or 2 over par. I didn't see where he finished at the bottom, towards the bottom of the leaderboard, but boy, he fought hard this weekend. It's good to hear Harman's name back in your good graces, Bones DK. TW, man, we're looking for some rogue warriors. Bones just said we got $16,000 to spend, and there are some pretty decent value picks as I look at that kind of price range there. You've got our defending champion, Justin Thomas. We've got Lowry, who we just spoke about a minute ago, and some other interesting picks like Thagila, English, Homa, all value picks. Any of those as your rogue warriors this week?
Yeah, let me first start with Shane Lowry, man. I mean, we said it last week. We were spot on. Can this guy play 72 holes? The answer was no. And you're right. Maybe he did bring Sam Burns down. Maybe Jason Day brought JR down there at the end too, moping around like a little weenie. I'm sorry. I'm still shook over that. Let me start off with this rogue warrior, okay? I think this is the lowest price you'll ever see this guy on DraftKings ever again, right? Here's some of his accolades as a PGA Tour veteran. Only Korn Ferry Tour Player of the Year and PGA Tour Rookie of the Year back-to-back. 2-time PGA Tour winner. Runner-up at the FedEx Cup in 21 or 22. 7 worldwide wins. 3 top 12s here. A runner-up at the Masters. That's right. His name's on the trophy next to Dustin Johnson. 6,700. Sung Jae Im. Okay, lock him up. There was some live drama with him. Was he leaving the tour? Was he not leaving the tour? You know, you get that whole South Korean military storyline that always follows these South Korean guys around. This is a guy that is way better than 6,700 with good course history. So that's a guy that I would definitely consider, particularly if you're trying to get a Scotty Scheffler lineup going, because I do agree with Bones that this is maybe the time that now I might argue that a cut event actually gives Scheffler a better chance to win, because you're just giving less guys, random 72 hole pressure free cracks at it. So he's a guy that I really like. And then look, how can I not bring him up? He takes a pack of gum to the driving range every day he goes. He throws a couple sticks in, he chews it, and he goes out and he top 25s all the time. I mean, as bad as Harris played there on the weekend, he made a lot of birdies. I think he had 16, 17 birdies out there. And man, he had his driver really going on Saturday there. So a guy that I expect to play well in big events. This is now a big event with $20 million in the purse, a lot of FedEx Cup points and a lot on the line. So I'll always take English there when you're getting him discounted here in the low 7Ks.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, boys, your core four, Bones, Cantlay, Morikawa, Straka, and Harmon, and then our Rogue Warriors with Sungjae Im and English, you can get in for under 50K with that lineup right there. Let me throw out a couple other names, though, to both you guys. Sam Burns doesn't do anything for you at 9,000 this week, Rob.
Sam Burns is a great player. I think he has a little more advantage with his driving distance, so I'm not going to take him this week. And I'll tell you this right now, if you put in Sungjae Im, it lands us right on our boy, the Georgia Bulldog. And yes, I love Harris English, and he's a Georgia Bulldog as well, but we have more money to spend here. This just put him right in. He has great history here as well, and probably has the best irons on tour. Missed a few putts last week and could have been the Masters champion. I think he's motivated to win this week. It's Russell Henley. I play this guy all the time. Absolutely love him. And I'm going to tell the followers right now, play this lineup that we made right here. You got the core four, Sungjae Im, who I absolutely love this week as well, and our boy Russell Henley. Be confident that he's going to have a chance to win this tournament. And I honestly was going to pick him over Morikawa in the core four. But again, I like to make more value in the core four. So fire up Russell Henley. I also just want to throw out that I am speaking extremely fast right now because I've been working all day, drinking coffee, but this research is absolutely good. And I want you guys to fire up this lineup. It's going to be another great lineup, and it's going to win everybody more money this week.
Russell Henley, I'm telling you, I liked his body language last week. I really would have thought he would have ran some putts in on the green. You did hear John Rahm talk a little bit post-round about how difficult those conditions were, and they started to get a lot harder as the the afternoon progressed into the evening. So, we saw Rose burn a eagle putt by for 20, turned into me on the green there for a second, burned an eagle putt by 20 feet for crying out loud. So Henley, I like where you're going with that, Rob. I thought he was confident, and I thought those are just very difficult conditions last week to pick up a couple strokes coming down the stretch at the Masters. Let me give you a couple household names, wild man. Out of any of these guys, Jordan Spieth, 8.8, Victor Hovland, 8.6, Shane Lowry we'll throw in there at 8.4, Justin Thomas at 8.3. Are any of those guys value picks? Do any of those guys have a chance to win this tournament?
Do they have a chance to win? Absolutely. In fact, this venue is the last location of wins worldwide for Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. So they've won here in the last couple of years. They haven't won anywhere else in the world in the last 5 years or so. So sure, yeah, they not only can they do it, they've done it. Lowry, ironically, Edge, Rob, what was this? Probably 2023, 2022.
Yeah.
We had a really good lineup. I think we were in fourth with about 5 holes to play. The lineup had Shane Lowry. He went left on the par 3 15th or 16th, sculled it over the green, over the railroad ties, into the water, made a triple, and collapsed. So I'm sorry. No, maybe in a showdown I can get on Lowry, but final rounds, guys. I mean, this guy is just, boy, there's something wrong with him come Sunday at a golf tournament.
Let me ask you real quick, yes or no on the who would you take here, Spieth or Hovland?
Yeah, I think Hovland's the way better ball striker. Now, as you saw on the back nine at the Masters last week, I believe he was 7 under through 15 or 7 under through 14. He made a double on 15 and I think he got it back on 16, made a bogey on 17. So very erratic player. But usually the driver is what gets him into trouble. He's not going to have to hit a lot of drivers here. So yeah, he's a guy like that's a really low price for a FedEx Cup champion,
Right?
And a Ryder Cup player, and a guy that like you would consider in the fraternity of elite players on the PGA Tour, right? It's a low price.
Couple more quick guys, and then we'll get into our final thoughts here. A guy you liked last week made a little run there for an afternoon and a half. Cam Gotterup. What about him, Bones, at 8.1 this week?
Chris Gotterup, man.
Chris, sorry.
I'm happy you asked me about him because, again, $8,100. This guy is better than $8,100. I'm trying to fit him in my lineup. It might make me build a third lineup just to get him in. I think Chris Gotterup at 8,100. Yes, play him this week. Keep playing him all year, honestly. He's a great golfer. He's proven it. Multiple tour winner. Yes, Chris Gotterup this week for sure.
He might be average driving distance on the season, the longest hitter in this week's tour or in this week's field as well. Wild man, last guy before we get into our final thoughts. Your boy, Jason Day, $8,000. Is that a value play or is he overpriced this week?
I think he's overpriced, to be honest with you. I mean, he was less money last week by a few $100, and just kind of plodded along, did what he did, right? I mean, our analysis on him was definitely front loaded because he had all of his success on through 54, but I just don't know that he's got the killer instinct anymore. He's actually a really nice guy, family guy, lives in Columbus, Ohio. Believe it or not.
This is a golf cast, buddy.
I mean,
not running for president.
Look, this guy.
Although that doesn't matter anymore either, I guess, whether you're a nice guy.
But listen, like he's a guy that's like
a likable guy.
He's not living in Palm Beach. He's not driving a Ferrari. He's living in freaking Ohio with his wife driving a minivan. I think his killer instinct is just kind of gone. So I'm going to say no on Day, but I do want to mention Gotterup, and I want to lump him in with Cameron Young. I believe this is a course that neutralizes both of those guys. Their number one weapon is their driver and those 350-yard bombs. They're not going to be able to do that here. And Cameron Young, look, this might be one of the coldest takes come next week that I'll ever make. I don't even think he belonged on the leaderboard at the Masters this past weekend. I mean, if you watched his round and saw how many caroms off trees and spectator chairs that he was getting, not in play, into the center of the fairway, and he was making birdie or par there. Like, I don't know, man. He gets some bad bounces there. He maybe shoots 10 strokes worse than he did. If he gets some average bounces, he shoots 5 strokes worse than he did. So
I'll tell you what, though, Wild Man, going back to our original point, Rory and Cam Young didn't play all that fantastic down the stretch, but they bomb the golf ball, and they had 8, 9 pitching wedges in their hands versus guys that had 5 and 6 and 7 irons in their hands.
Yeah.
And on those rock hard greens, it was a lot easier to make good scores when you have those high irons in your hands.
And look, again, we know that Rose squandered the 2-shot lead there on the 11th tee. Rory and Cam, again, we've diagnosed their play last week. The guy that left the green jacket at Augusta was Russell Henley. So, and I agree, his body language was there, man. He had that scowl. He was dialed in, center of the fairway, hitting those irons, chewing on his lip, watching him go in there to 8, 10, 12, 15 feet. Just couldn't get it done. So the question this week is he sets up very well for this course. He's not a longer hitter on the tour as is, only averages about 288 off the tee. So it should be right in his wheelhouse to actually hit some drivers where other guys are going to have to club down. It's can he bounce back, has he slept? since Sunday.
Henley just drives the ball so accurately, also straight down the middle almost every time. Bones DK, your core four is Cantlay, Morikawa, Straka, and Harmon, all value picks, all under $9,500 this week. Our Rogue Warriors are Sung J M at 6.7, Harris English, who just always sneaks his way into our lineup somehow at 7.9. We're high on Chris Gotterup at 8.1 this week as well. Real quick before we get out of here, it's the turbo round. Bigger, better blow up this week. Robert McIntyre or Sergio Garcia? Wild man, go.
Oh, this isn't even a question. We talked about it off the air. It's Sergio Garcia. I mean, you guys talk about Patrick Reed and John Rahm and all these dorks on the Live Tour. They're not breaking their driver over a canteen on the tee box at Augusta, where you're already in the Champions Dinner. What are you so bent out of shape about, guy? You haven't contended. I mean, he hasn't even made the cut at Augusta, I think, since like 2017 or something. Like, that's a guy that is childish, is immature. The man's immature. And I think he's going to be reprimanded at Augusta. They're not going to like take his privilege away or anything, but like they might be like, hey man, next time you do it, you're not going to be invited back the following year because you look like a clown out there.
I mean, you gotta love Robert McIntyre giving the old bird to the green, though, also, and receiving a reprimand. One thing that made the Sergio Garcia situation even funnier, we've said our piece about Sergio. We know he's got a problem with his attitude and his temperament. The fact that there were guys coming behind him, he's a past champion there too, and he's destroying the tee box like he did. He should be reprimanded for
unacceptable.
That. But the best part about it is he ends up having to caddy for John Rahm for half the hole because both his caddies, Rahm's caddy's back there fixing a trap, and Sergio's caddy's got to fix the tee box that he just destroyed. So Sergio's carrying Rahm's bag. I mean, you want to talk about a humiliating sight for Live Golf and the Spanish fireballs. It's that one at golf's most storied golf course that those two.
What? A circus, that one.
It was a circus.
Those two.
It was a circus.
Yeah.
Bones, this is supposed to be the turbo round here, so let's do this real quick. More disappointed in John Rahm this week or Brandon DeChambeau? I think DeChambeau missed an opportunity. One of the longest hitters on tour. Boy, he would have liked to have been around probably Saturday or Sunday, right?
It's Bryson DeChambeau, not Brandon, but
well, you know how it goes.
No, but
I've been drinking coffee all day. You know how it goes.
I think Bryson, he was a big letdown, and I kind of said that on the podcast. I think he was a great play, but again, man, he's not on the PGA Tour right now. He's not getting the looks that these other guys are getting. These guys are hungry playing on the PGA Tour. Bryson's at like a safari 2 weeks ago. He's just not focused anymore. It's not surprising to me that he didn't do well, but I think the biggest letdown was Bryson DeChambeau for sure.
Worst playing partner, wild man, Shane Lowry, or how do you say this guy's first name? The Haotong Lee or Heetong Lee? Is that how you say? Haotong. Both shot 80. Haotong took 20 minutes in the forest on number 15 and then putted off the green into the water on the same hole. Shane Lowry, I'll tell you what, you're talking about Day giving Rose a hard time. I think Lowry really brought down Burns as well. Burns was playing real nice until that playing pairing came up. So who was the worst playing partner this week, wild man?
Yeah, I think it was Lowry. I mean, the Haotong thing was a debacle, but he was stuffing irons almost the entire weekend up to that 10 on 15. So yeah, tough hole for him there and tough finish. But yeah, man. Look, guys, this is a pattern with Lowry this year. He's been doing this for 2 months. That's why we said it last week. I mean, just comes out. He just doesn't have the mojo. And look, we've all played with guys that, aren't playing well and, they don't want to listen to music. They don't want to have a transfusion. They don't want, a little bit different than playing for the green jacket. But, that aura can bring you down quickly. And the patrons surrounding that group had probably scoured after their, 6-7 over and out of contention. So they're playing with themselves out there. Couple close calls for Burns, though. I mean, I like him. Nice guy. and maybe he'll contend for another one. I think he drives a Ford Expedition.
And he's a real family guy, too.
And just a real nice guy.
Bones DK, does Rory McIlroy, final question, get to 10 majors in his career by the time it's all said and done?
I'll tell you what, in hindsight, it made sense that he won back-to-back majors. I feel like he had a huge weight lifted off his chest last year, winning the Masters, and I thought maybe he would almost like retire at this point, not really care anymore. I think it did the exact opposite, and I think he could win a lot more majors and maybe win another one this year, because I don't think the pressure is there anymore, especially after winning the second Masters in a row. This guy is out for blood, and I think he's a great play week after week.
And a trivia question to end today's podcast. The lowest score ever at the Masters, 20 under par. Which golfer did it? Do you have any idea, Wildman or Bones DK?
I do know that. In fact, that was the only Masters ever played in November where our rogue warrior, Sung Jae, was the runner-up by 5 to DJ.
Dustin
under.
Johnson, 20 under par in the year 2020 at Augusta. Our core 4 this week. You nailed it, Wildman. By the way, Dustin Johnson played great this weekend at the Masters. Never saw a shot on television.
Ask anything about Dustin Johnson to Wildman. He knows what time he goes to sleep, what he eats for dinner. The guy is obsessed with Dustin Johnson.
Only because he's more obsessed with Paulina. That's probably what that's all about.
And actually more obsessed with her father.
With the great one. Cantlay, Morikawa, Straka, Harmon. That's the core 4. The Rogue Warriors are Sung Jae M and Harris English for TW Man and Bones DK Golf. My name is Edge. Thanks so much for listening to the Bones Brothers Golf Show. Until next time, good luck this weekend in Hilton Head. See you, boys.